All right, all right, man. The beast from Switzerland. It looks like you're coming out of nowhere to take over. Um,
Yeah.
Mate, you seem like you do a million and one different sports. So how did that start in sports in general?
Also, sports in general. Well, I gotta say, I started playing tennis for pretty much all of my youth. Then I went over to the state. Well, I tried some other sports as well, like played handball and soccer a little bit. Obviously, you have to.
Hmm.
Uh, then I went to the States when I was like 16, started playing American football over there. Then started going to the gym, like doing some more like bodybuilding style training, and played some baseball as well. Came back, continued to play American football, and made it to the national team in Switzerland as well. And from there, basically shifted like 3 years ago over to CrossFit. And the last 3 years have been pretty much all in CrossFit.
Nice,
And I'm
man.
gonna continue to do that for the next few years as well.
Fuck yeah. I saw some of the highlights of the Zurich games.
Yeah,
That you look like you absolutely dominated.
it was a good competition, definitely. It was. I mean, it's a competition right next to my home gym, so I've got a 10-minute ride with my bike from home to get there. So it was really like the home competition feeling, and I was there already last year, so I already knew what it was going to be like.
Hmm.
And then coming in, I knew I wanted to defend that title. So
Hmm.
basically, my goal in going into every workout was to win the workout,
Hmm.
and I succeeded most of the times. Not always, but most.
Nah,
That was a
it
good
definitely
competition.
helps when you've got that fire in your belly, right? And you're just like, nah, 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 nah. Everyone else is coming second, like they're fighting for second place. I'm second first place.
Yeah, I tried to make that point. I'm
Yeah.
trying to really like establish myself as one of the better CrossFit athletes in Switzerland. I
Mm.
can't really say best because there's some other fit people still, but I'm working towards that.
Mm. You got Adrian though, right?
Adrian's pretty fit.
Yeah. He's a pretty fit individual, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did really well at the games. That was it 2 years ago with the road bike.
Yeah, he won that event. And
Mm.
well, we also had Lucas Esslinger, who's also a pretty fit guy.
Yes.
And he also won. Lucas was the one who won the rowing event, the marathon row.
Yes.
One of the most
And
like ever, probably.
he's wicked in the pool, right? He used to be a swimmer.
Lucas.
I believe so. Oh, I'm
No,
thinking of
that's Jonne.
Jonakowski.
That's Jan Matiaska.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
used to train at the same gym. So
Yeah,
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 so I got these two guys that are still definitely ahead, but trying to close the gap.
yeah, man. Having something to chase, you know what I mean? Like, it's always good to keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
What's the ultimate goal?
Well, the ultimate goal is to make it to become the fittest in Switzerland and then to qualify for the games. I hope that goes hand in hand.
Mm,
It will probably take qualifying to the games to get the fittest in Switzerland anyway. So yep,
mm.
that's the goal.
That's still a gateway though, right? Like if you become
So,
fittest in your country, you're still gonna go to the games, right?
no, not anymore. It used to be like that only 1 year when they had the games were always the fittest of each country was qualified for the games. But now they've changed that back to make it back to more like the regionals format. So you qualify from the open to quarterfinals, from quarterfinals to semifinals, and then semifinals is kind of like the old regionals.
Mm. Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
that was even before I did CrossFit, but so that's like the regionals, and from the semifinals you then qualify on to the games if you are in the top 10 in Europe. So each event qualifies 5 people, and there's two semifinals events in Europe.
Oh well, yeah, yeah. I think that's
So
a
last year I was at one of the semifinals events that were
mhm.
still online, unfortunately, but anyways. And yeah, now just the goal is to get get better and get closer to those top 5 spots.
Yeah, man, punch that ticket, right? Well, what positions did you play in American football?
Played a little bit of everything as well, but mostly ended up playing running back most of the time, especially during the end. But probably also because it's the best position where you can have the most impact, I would say, in Switzerland at least. Because usually the passing game requires a lot of teamwork that actually works together. You need to have a quarterback that's on the same page as you. You need to have guys blocking for the quarterback as well, and that wasn't always the case in our team. So if you're the running back and you get the ball first, well, you still need your team to make some plays for you, but you can have more of an impact actually making the play yourself.
What was
so I
it?
think that's why I shifted towards the running back position.
Yeah. What was it like playing American football in Europe? Like like an outsider, I've never played it, right? And it looks like something that outside of America, it's not going to be very big. But I know that's not true.
Oh, it is. I would say it is true. I mean, if you compare worldwide to the US, it's nothing. Like the NFL is huge, and there's like so many Americans that are so focused on American football from a very young age. They train only for that, only to become a pro someday. And the level is really, really high in the NFL if you compare it to anything else. College football is, I can't say, maybe. Let's just put it like that. The college league that is like the younger players over in the States would probably crush most European top teams.
Really?
So in Europe, it's really, let's say, a few European guys that are actually playing the game pretty good. And then there's import players from the States coming over if they didn't make it to pro, and they just play wherever they want.
Understood. Same as basketball, right?
Probably. I've never played basketball. I wanted to play basketball in the States. That was the one thing that I couldn't do because they were rebuilding the gym. So instead of playing basketball, I just went to the gym and did some bodybuilding for like 3 months.
I mean, it's the same, right?
Like the traditional Gold's gym, went into stringer tank tops and just started bulking up.
Yeah.
Gained like 15 pounds in that year. 50, well, probably 15 kilos.
Were you like 16?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, like it's still at that time, right, where you can have a summer break from school, have 6 weeks off, and you can come back. If you've trained hard for 6 weeks, you can come back looking like a new person.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like.
And then you could just, like, I was just eating everything and all of it, and I was also really lucky. Like the family that I was staying at, my host dad was like really pushing me to like eat enough calories, get into a surplus, and get all your proteins in. So I just made sure we did all that.
That's real cool. Where did you stay? What state?
I stayed in San Jose, California.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was
cool.
What
an experience.
Nice. Yeah, summer all year.
Wow, holy shit.
Kind of miss that, especially now that we didn't have a summer here all year. this summer was complete trash. It was raining the whole time. It was cold. So everybody's like, we've missed summer. We didn't get it. There's like 2 or 3 weekends that were actually summer.
That is literally like the UK though, right?
Like
it'll just rain continuously for, I don't know, man. Like one of the worst summers, legit summers I've ever seen is it's just non-stop rain for 3 weeks.
Imagine you're going on holidays, visiting the country, and it's like 3 weeks of raining.
Yeah. You're like, oh, welcome guys. This is what we've got to offer.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Now get the fuck back.
It's why everyone, sits in a pub all day and just drinks.
That makes sense now.
Like what else are you gonna do? You're not gonna go outside. It's fucking cold and pissing it down with rain. So you're just gonna sit inside and just drink until you black out. It's not the healthiest of nations.
Yeah, I've been to England as well, and well, we went for an American football game to watch the NFL because they have some games over there.
Yeah.
In London, like 3 or 4 games every year.
Yeah.
So we went to watch one of these, and then there was also the rugby final going on at the same time. Who was it? No, it was the All Blacks playing. I think it was All Blacks against Australia, so it wasn't even England. But anyway, we're like at a public viewing at Trafalgar Square. Thousands of people. We bet on the game. I don't know if I won or not. But
Yeah. Just immerse yourself in that culture, mate. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's just there for a good time. No one really cares about the result. It's just an excuse to like.
That's pretty much how it was. We're like, who we're cheering for? I don't know. Whoever's in the lead.
Yeah. That's about it. Yeah. And then someone's going to start throwing something and there's going to be a massive riot. Yeah, that's basically.
Well, we didn't do that, but yeah.
That's England. What can I say? Well, that's the UK in general. Like, we just like throwing punches and getting out in the rain.
No, only good stuff.
Only the good stuff, mate. Yeah, exactly. What's sport like in Switzerland though? Is everyone encouraged to do something or?
Yeah, but it's how would I put that? I think everybody's encouraged to do something, but you really have to take care of it on your own. Like you need to find a club that you can go to, play sports regularly. It's not as integrated into the educational system as it is, for example, in the States. So, I mean, you're doing sports at school, but then if you want to do something outside of that, you have to find your own club, get a ride there if it's not in the area. And yeah, you have all the options, but you just got to make something out of it yourself. Whereas like compared to the States, something that I can compare it to, it's like everything's integrated into the school. All the like other people, teachers, sports coaches are pushing you to do something, to do this, to try that. Like when I was there and in that period where I just went to the gym and I didn't do a sport, like the coaches were constantly asking me to like play tennis. Dude, we heard you play tennis. You're at this level. You could really help out the team. Like, no, I played tennis like all my life at home. I don't need to come to the States to play tennis. But they're like constantly on you. Come on, join us. So I wouldn't say it's like that here. But you do have opportunity to do a lot if you want to.
It's interesting because it definitely gives the impression of like a healthy nation, of like everyone kind of does something on their own naturally.
Yeah, I'm happy you're saying it gives the impression of a healthy nation talking about Switzerland, because putting the States into that light is a difficult discussion maybe.
Yes,
but no, I would say we're generally speaking we're pretty healthy, and awareness of our health in Switzerland, generally speaking.
I like it. I like that.
Yeah, but then it's always difficult to talk about like broad populations, because for example, what I'm seeing the percentage of people that is keeping active, that is going to the gyms, that do take care of their nutrition and sleep and whatever. Like I'm seeing more of those people, just because of the surroundings that I have. Like I'm working in a gym, I'm training in a gym. All my friends and family, most care about sports and health, and so it gives you the impression that it is the case, but you can't really speak for everyone, of course.
For sure, I agree. I just get the I think back to back home, and the thought on it is a little bit different. And then I spent a little bit of time in Iceland and Denmark, and like you can just kind of feel people are a lot more aware about it. Whatever they're picking up in supermarkets, or how they're eating, or just people always on a bike, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just like cycling around rather than in the car or whatever. And like a lot of Central European countries gives that impression. Like I spent a bit of time in Germany. Germany's a bit of a different example. They like beer a little bit too much. However, they've still produced some absolutely wicked athletes. So, tit for tat.
Yeah.
But Central European countries, they give the impression of like they actually give a fuck about their health a little bit more than the UK. That's for sure.
Yeah, I actually had the impression that I was in Iceland as well, and they're even more.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like you went into the store and everything was promoted towards health, like everything.
Yeah.
Nothing was promoted towards get all bacon, all cheese, all whatever. Like this is super healthy, low cal, low fat, low this, low that, and
yeah. Like you can get
Knockos.
Knockos in a fucking in a petrol station.
But I have that here as well.
Oh, really?
Or I think they're starting to, not all the flavors, but
I didn't
drinks
know.
like that are coming up more and more as well.
That's good. Instead of like smashing back a Red Bull.
Yeah.
Well, they're practically the same thing, but we put amino acids and a pretty flavor in it, and we call it healthy, right?
Yeah. It's at least it's very well marketed that way.
That's very true. Swedish, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's I enjoy them. I think Knockos are brilliant. But
yeah.
I can't say that. When's the next competition coming up?
It's a good question. The bigger competition that's coming up is in November. It's actually going to be in Sweden. It's the Functional Fitness World Championships. So that's going to be the big one. That I'm also like a little bit going to train and taper for, at least in some extent. Most of my focus is really on the CrossFit season and on making it back to the semis and getting closer to the games. But that's like one of the highlights in the off season that I still have coming up. And then I also have a little team competition that I'm going to be doing that I already qualified for like 2 years ago, probably. And then it's been canceled and postponed and canceled again. And now like a few weeks ago, I was like getting the invite. I was like, oh, you qualified for the competition. We're going to do it now. I was like, oh, this is still on.
Yeah.
So my partner that I qualified with back then, she didn't do much CrossFit in the meantime, I think. And she's like, yeah, she didn't really do a lot and she didn't know if she can compete. And it's like, yeah, well, let's just do it. I mean, that was the first competition that I ever did like 3 or 4 years back. And I think it would have been fun to like go in the same team again. And I mean, it's not that crazy competitive when you go in a team, right? But yeah, now I'm not doing it with her. I'm doing it with one of the coaches from my gym that I train with regularly, just to actually throw down with her as well, just for fun.
Yeah, have a bit of fun, right? Throw down, whatever happens.
Yeah. It's also good to do some competitions like that, I think, to kind of keep the fun in it.
Yeah, man. You remember why you started.
There's going to be a lot of training the months following towards that CrossFit season again. And I'm probably going to be looking back at some of those. Oh, let's just throw down on a Saturday and do whatever and just lift some weights and just do that. Whereas I like to have my training a lot more structured usually, and don't do like X amount of stuff on the side. And I'd rather just like focus on the one thing, trust in the process, and then pretty much stick to that as much as I can.
Yeah, it's definitely turned from let's just throw down and just improve fitness and improve your mental toughness to now everything is periodized to the season and it's like a legitimate sport. It's really cool how that has transitioned, and you can only imagine where it's going to go next, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to continue to go in that way, and then the more resources you have, the more you can start optimizing things again and start tailoring it even more so, and make all the recovery side of it more perfect and all that stuff.
What is it you do for recovery?
Oh, I mean, let's keep it simple. I'm trying to sleep enough and I'm trying to eat good. That's the main things.
I mean, if you
You
don't,
can do all the stretching, and you can do saunas and ice baths and massages, and I love that stuff, and I do it as well. But I think the key to recovery is just, it cannot be underestimated, is to go to sleep regularly, more or less at the same time, sleep enough, get your whatever you need, 8-9 hours at least in. I'm trying to wake up, not setting an alarm in the morning if I can, as often as possible, and then just try to get the right amount of food at the right time, more or less. I'm not picky with calories, or going with this vegetable at that time and having so many grams of this, but just getting healthy food in at the right times when you need it, fuel before, during, after training.
mm-hmm.
I think that's the main stuff. And then
Sure.
everything else on top is like the cherry picking. That's definitely good. I mean, I like to go to like manual therapy, get some body work done. But if you're gonna sleep 6 hours a day and eat like shit, you can do all the manual therapy you want. You're not gonna be recovered.
Yeah, man, 100%. It's funny, like people forget those two key pillars, right? The sleep and then the food and the fuel you put in yourself. Like if you don't do either one of those two or both, you're fucked. Like you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah. I mean, for me, recovery is really, it sounds a bit cheesy if you say recovery is key, because obviously you're training a lot, and I'm I'm focusing first and foremost on training properly, getting good stimulus in. But then if you look at more the mid long term picture, you need to have your recovery on point, because otherwise you're just going to run into an injury at some point. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're in it for the long run, and you need to be, if you want to be somewhat successful, then you need to be able to train over a long period of time injury free.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather shift my, I mean, I've had to learn that. It's not like I started like this. I started like everyone else, just took a summer off, went training twice a day, and that
Yeah.
was all I cared about. And I wanted to do another workout and one more thing and one more thing on the rest day as well. So I also started like that. And I mean, it works to a point. But then at some point, I started shifting more towards, hey, I'm in this for the long run. I got to make sure I still stay healthy, because if you train for, let's just say you can train for 3 years consistently without having any major breaks, without having to take weeks off because of something they're having to adjust the whole programming, can't do any squatting for months and months because you've had this. I think you're gonna be way better off training for a long period of time without those major breaks,
Mm-hmm.
as to training super hard for those 2 months, breaking your leg, going for 3 months without this, and then going again super hard in this, and then you're gonna injure that. So that's a bit my approach when it comes to training and also to competing. So I'm trying to not over compete, because that's where you have the highest risk of something happening, even if it's just smaller stuff. But I mean, going into a competition, first of all, you're going to cut some of your training. So you're not going to train much before the competition. You're going to take a little bit of rest after the competition. And then if you want to go all in, you also got to not listen to your body as much as in training, and just go and do what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, in training, right, you listen to your body and you take the foot off the gas if you need to, but in competition, you tell it to shut the fuck up, and you
I
just,
just read that quote somewhere.
yeah, like I think it was Fronin, right?
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely mad bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because we know through nutrition, yo-yo dieting is not the way to go, right? We shouldn't like crash diet and then just completely like eat ourselves silly again and then crash diet and then blah 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 blah. So I'm pretty sure the average population would probably look at that negatively and be like, okay, that's probably not what we need to do. However, you take that out of the equation, you put them in the gym, they're like, oh, I've got to go 3 times a day. I've got to take all these supplements. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, okay. Then you're gonna like have a shoulder injury in 2.5 weeks. You'll take 3 months off. You'll come back and do it again. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's always, it's an interesting topic, but I love when people are motivated.
Mm.
So that's the first thing. And then you just got to steer that motivation into the right direction.
Mm.
So I don't like telling people to like not to do something and just, you know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, don't do that third training. I'm rather gonna be like, why don't you do this instead, and it will help you more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do you have to do a third metcon if you could maybe spend some time on your overhead mobility, because that really sucks and you can't do an overhead squat with the barbell. So maybe take that extra hour, spend it there, and you will benefit much more in the long run.
Mm. That's a really cool approach. Mm. I
Yeah,
like it.
I mean, it needs to be sustainable, and it needs to make you happy. If you want to see progress, you need to constantly stay on it for a longer period of time. You're not going to make progress doing, I mean, yeah, you're going to make some progress, but as you said, like kind of like the yo-yo stuff, you're going to like crush it over the summer, go 4 weeks all in, and then nothing.
Mm.
And you're just back to ground zero a few months after. So even like if I'm working with personal training clients as well, it's like, we're going to start off, I'm going to offer you a training a week, and then I'm waiting for you to come towards me and be like, hey, can we maybe do more? I was like, yeah, we can do more. We're going to do a second session. That's fine. And if you want to do a third session at some point, we're going to do a third session at some point. But I'd rather have them start slow and kind of like want to have more than be like, all right, you want to go, you want to get fit, let's go every fucking day. We're going to do the hardest workouts you've ever done. And then in 4 weeks, we're going to see if you can still do it.
Yeah. That's so true. And it's teaching people to not neglect the small things, right? Of like you said, the overhead mobility that most people
Yeah, the
don't
small
have
thing.
the ability to put their arms above their head. You know what I mean?
I've started there.
Yeah.
When I started CrossFit, I could not overhead squat the barbell, and that pissed me off. Like,
Yeah.
so I started with the whole CrossFit thing when I went to physio, because I always had problems with my lower back. Playing football and doing all the weight training, it was just always something that's bothered me. So I went to the physio, and luckily I found a really good physio that I still work with today. And he's got a very like holistic approach to any problem. So he's not like, oh, your back hurts, all right, I'm going to massage your back and then get out. But he's like, all right, well, let's look how you move. Let's see how your mobility is in your whole body, right? And he's basically telling me your mobility is shit. No wonder you're having problems, because that's just where all the tension goes, and that's where you're going to tighten up at the end of the day. And I took it very seriously. And I think the first half year that I started with CrossFit, I mean, I did do a lot of training. I did hop right onto one of the competitor programs that was doing extra volume and more of this and more of that. Yes, I did do that. But then at the same time, I also spent a lot of time on my mobility, because I just realized if you can't do a relaxed overhead squat, you're not gonna be efficient in it. You're never gonna beat someone with a really solid overhead squat position that can just squat 50 kilos basically for breakfast, whereas you're struggling to keep that barbell somewhat behind your head as you're squatting down. So I would just spend probably an hour a day doing mobility work for a solid half a year.
Wow.
Doing the same drills over and over and over and over and over again.
What was
I'm still doing it. Huh?
What was the major issue?
A lot. I don't know, hips, my back. I mean, I could move my spine segmentally. Like,
Yeah.
I could go like cat camel kind of thing, but my lower back wouldn't move. My lower back was this.
Right.
And you need to be able to move those as well. And I had to learn that. And it was a really cool experience to at some point get it. It was like the first time you're trying to do the drill and like doing the cat camel segmentally, like trying to just move your lumbar spine. And And I was in that position. I was like, he's like, now move. And I was like, there's nothing to move. I was like, yeah, you should be able to actually move in both directions from this position. I was like, no, there's nothing happening. So I just practice. And now I realize that you can actually move there as well.
That's really interesting. I had exactly the same experience, but with my thoracic. I played rugby union, right? So I was at the front of the scrum. So there's basically 8 guys just coming together and kicking the shit out of each other, and we called it sport, which was fun. And yeah, like my upper back got so jacked up from it, like it would just not move. Like I'd have zero rotation, zero extension, and you'd put me in exactly the same position, exactly the same environment and situation, and they'd be like, "All right, Alex, now move," and I'm like, "Dude, this is not moving."
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like it's really humbling because you might get in the weight room and smash whatever kilos you put on the
I
bar.
know. No.
You put whoever in front of you. You could put like a 7-foot monster in front of you, and you're gonna absolutely nail him to the ground. But they're telling you to segmentally move through your spine. You're like, nah, I've got nothing.
I know. And like stuff like this just really, it kind of lit a fire. Like I couldn't handle if other people are doing something and I'm not even able to get close to it. So like he was working in a CrossFit gym, and I would just see people doing stuff I've never seen or done before, and like stuff like walking on your hands or doing ring muscle ups. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I thought I'm pretty fit, but then you see some of the stuff that they're doing. It's like, that's pretty crazy. I can't even overhead squat the empty barbell, and he's doing what, like all the plates on it. So
Yeah,
just
you see
following the
people
steps
doing
to
like,
get there.
oh, 100%. And you see people like doing L sits and like,
Oh, that I'm still struggling with.
made that hard, man.
Yeah, especially if you have legs.
Yeah, you hold it for like 2 seconds and everything's just shaking.
And then you cramp up. Now I'm getting a little bit better, but yeah, I used to cramp up a lot.
Yeah. It's
But
definitely
again, you gotta remember you're not a gymnast and you have legs.
yeah. Especially if you're doing weightlifting.
Yeah.
How did the weightlifting comp go?
Oh, really? Well, I mean, so I'm participating in the Swiss weightlifting championships as well. I'm in a club there, so it always works with clubs with other sports. And well, that was also a really long season. So I actually started Olympic weightlifting for CrossFit. So I knew my goal is and will be in CrossFit still, but I was struggling with my weightlifting consistency, especially in the snatch. So whenever weights got a bit heavier, I needed a good day to hit them, and I couldn't like just constantly hit a whatever 100 kilo snatch, 110 kilo snatch. So I thought that if I would join the weightlifting and get some more exposure to some pressure environments, that would be a good opportunity for me to practice those Olympic weightlifting lifts, and then to make sure that I'm better at them when it comes to CrossFit. And then I did my first competition before the Corona stuff. And after that, it was a long break. And then again, it kind of like started this year again. And they're like, oh, we're back. We're still going to do this. And in the meantime, I had like added 15 kilos to my snatch, added, I don't know how many to my clean and jerk, squatted so much. Like I've done all the work that I wanted to do anyways, but I thought I needed the practice in weightlifting, but then I managed to get it without the weightlifting also.
Wow.
And I just continued on that season, and like it was pretty cool to see like how much progress you've made, like seeing the weight that you start. I started my competition this year with the weights that I ended with last year, just
Wow.
for the for that, just to have that confidence back in, and then everything else was just plus from there. And I never really maxed out in those competitions because I knew that there wasn't anything to gain from it. But I just want to still make sure that I hit those heavier numbers, those 90-95% in a moment when it counts. So not going back, trying it again, ramping, like having your own music, having the right timing. No, like you got to go when they tell you to go, you got to lift when you got to lift, and then you got to just make it.
100%.
And so it went really well. Like I made all my lifts so far this year. It was, I mean, just 2 competitions. One was with the club, and then the other one was the Swiss Championship. And yeah, just made all my lifts. The goal was always to go in and have a 6-for-6 event, go for 3 successful snatches, 3 successful clean and jerks, and then to make also got to play a little competition just to make sure you win.
Yeah, man.
Well, if you can. So, I mean, in weightlifting, there's so many weight categories. And now the funny thing is that my big advantage is that I'm heavy. So the heavier you are, the less people you have to compete with. So if I would have cut down some weight and competed in the lighter category, I would not have won, because there's one or two guys that are like really, not internationally really strong, but nationally stronger, at least stronger than what I could lift, even on the best day. So I knew that cutting down weight for this I mean, it wouldn't have been an option anyways, but now staying heavy even had the advantage of like a guaranteed win.
Yeah. It's funny, right?
Yeah,
between like I don't know, like 70, I'd say between like mid 70s to mid 90s for the dudes. Like there's
a lot of people.
So many people.
Once you're getting to that 3 digits,
yeah,
it's yours.
Yeah, there's like
a lot there.
Maybe 2 other people, maybe.
Yeah, so I told my brother that he should join as well, and he's gonna compete next season as well.
That's cool.
Because he's like 110 kilos, and I told him like, hey, I mean, I know there's a lot better weightlifters than you are, but you're heavy, and that's your advantage. And there's not a lot of people that are that heavy and that still lift weights.
Yeah, man. Like nobody's hard to retain that weight on your frame and still be like athletic.
I mean, if you're tall and you're into strength training and all that, you're naturally going to become heavy. But yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 186, so 6'1" American.
Oh, only 6'1". You look like you're fucking like 6'4" or something.
That's my brother.
Yeah, like I'm literally 5'10" on the dot, right?
Yeah.
So like 3 digits on me would just look disproportionately weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'd be more this way than I would be this way.
I mean, I'm not planning to be that heavy, but it's just the way it's kind of turned out. I'm trying to actually lose a few kilos if I could. But I mean, my body fat percentage is not that high. So there's not a lot I can gain on just cutting fat. I would love to. Like when I got my body fat tested, I was like, damn it, I'm that low. I kind of wished for a higher number that I could lose a little bit. But no, I mean, this off season, I've kind of taken quite a step back from strength training, because I know it's something that I'm relatively good at in the CrossFit area, whereas I struggle more with all the body weight stuff, continuous movement for a long period of time. And that's just everything that's body weight. The lighter you are, the more advantage you have. So I try to I didn't try to, but I wasn't going to be sad if I would lose a few kilos of muscle.
Well, you know, it's a less to lug around, right?
It's going that direction. So I was actually 102 kilos at the semifinals. Like I never really tracked much or tried to get a certain weight. I would just make sure I eat enough to fuel all the training and fuel all the competition. But if I could optimize that a little bit, I think I would try and be a little bit lighter to compete, because that's where I gain all my points is in those events that are just not tailored to bigger athletes. And if you're then already heavier as well, it just makes it more of a disadvantage.
Where do you naturally sit?
Around 100.
Hmm.
So now I'm more at like 99, 98. But it's been going up all the time. So when I started, so after football, I was like 94, 96-ish. And then I had to, like, I did have to gain strength and improve my weightlifting for sure. So I did intentionally gain some, not necessarily muscle, but strength, but that goes hand in hand a lot of times. And then I was just going up 1 or 2 kilos every year until I was sitting at like 101, 102 for semifinals. And now I'm trying to sit like slightly below the hundreds and hope I can maintain that throughout the next season.
I find it fascinating how like different bodies will naturally gravitate towards different set points. You know what I mean? You can have like different height individuals and they will naturally sit a specific weight. Like my brother, for example, like if he just ate how he wanted to eat and just kind of trained like how he wanted to train, he's still fucking freakishly strong, right? Like he's a powerlifter. Like
All right.
he'll pull 240 on a deadlift weighing like 75 kilos.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, wait, how can you weigh 75 kilos? You know what I mean?
That's crazy. They're like pulling the same as I would with 100 kilos.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like there's less of you, and yeah, it blows my mind, and I find it fascinating just seeing like different body types.
That's the specific training, though. The more you specifically train for it, the more you can, of course, optimize that performance.
Well, he is a powerlifter. He doesn't do any burpees.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm a weightlifter. I don't do any burpees.
And I'm doing a lot of burpees.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting the weightlifting at the moment, so I got to do more burpees.
Oh. Nah, man. Those days are over for me.
Did you do CrossFit earlier?
Yeah, man. Like I got into it after playing rugby. Like I had a pretty big neck injury playing rugby, and then there was like a 2-year period where I didn't really do anything.
Crazy.
So I was like, oh, what do I do? And kind of moved right close to a CrossFit gym. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll give it a go type stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of dove into it head first. You know, you do the whole training, coaching, repeat for X amount of years. But obviously I've gone everywhere. I've gone back home. I've come over here. I've moved down. Like I've fucking gone everywhere. And it's easier to train for weightlifting when your schedule is crazy because you only have to train once. Rather than having to be good at everything, you only have to be good at snatching and clean and jerking and doing a couple sets of squats.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
So you're traveling around coaching, looking for new boxes, or?
So I just got a head coach's gig here in Christchurch. So I'll be staying put for however long. But yeah, man, I was like, I worked at the last box I worked at in the UK. I was there for like 3 years. And then I was kind of like dicking around, seeing where I was going to go coach. Like I was thinking about like Abu Dhabi, I was thinking about Canada, thinking about over here. Obviously pulled the trigger and came over here to Auckland, and then a couple around there and came down to Christchurch.
That's funny. Even like the Saudi Arabia, I think I just got a message today from someone asking if I wanted to come there and be a full-time coach. And I've heard from other people as well, and a lot of pro athletes that they like went to Dubai and just did a few personal trainings with high-paying clients, did some classes, and then just trained all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Dubai is the way to go, man. You don't pay any tax, and you know, you got the weather all year round, and they kind of like accommodate for you and pay for pay for your accommodation. Like it's I mean,
crazy.
if you wanted to be a pro athlete, it's the way to go.
Yeah.
But hey, nah, that's not for me, man.
I'm not looking at moving either. I'm pretty happy where I am.
Yeah. Still want to come visit, man.
Yeah, you should.
Are you?
And now you can let me know as well. I'll show you around. Go skiing.
Yeah. Boom. You'll have to like go
You have a
slow
place
though.
to train.
I'm a weightlifter, remember? Like I won't be as fit as you running up those mountains.
You just need to ride down. You don't need to run up. We have lifts for that.
Yes.
We're only doing the fun part.
Yeah. Like on a bin lid, right?
Say it again.
On a bin lid. That's what you used to do back home. You used to take the lid off a bin,
Oh yeah.
sit on the lid, and then you just go sliding down a hill.
I mean, we do have skis and snowboards as well. But if you want to go for budget, you can do that as well.
Yeah, budget skiing. You just use the bin lid.
Walk up the mountain and then slide it down.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works, man. You know what I mean? And get some Swiss cheese, Swiss chocolate, mate. Whew, that's good.
All year round.
That's so good, man. That is something I heavily do miss about just being home, because we can obviously import some Swiss cheese, Swiss chocolate very, very easily. But here, like it you can't do that. You can't import it here.
I think there's chocolate pretty much all over the world, no? Even in
Yeah,
Europe.
yeah.
It always amazed me. Like when first when you were like visiting someone and you would always bring chocolate bars and like, oh, this is super Swiss, this is so cool. And then you get out at the airport over there and you see the exact same bars that you just brought all the way from Switzerland. And it's like, what's the point? They can buy the same stuff over here.
Like Toblerone?
Yeah.
Fucking yeah, man. Like every airport sells it. You know what I mean? Wherever. But it's so expensive here because they got to pay for the shipping.
Well, New Zealand's expensive anyways.
Yeah. Don't remind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's okay once you live here, you know, like it all ends up evening it out. But if you want to come for like a holiday or a visit, like yeah, Jesus, it's
If you're
expensive.
not coming from a high wage country, then it's
Yeah,
quite a
you're
shock.
fucked.
It's just like people coming here.
Yeah.
Just get punched in the face in the restaurant right away.
Yeah.
They're charging me $6 for the water as well. $6 and I haven't even eaten.
Yeah, man. Fuck that. Although, yes, I will come visit. 100%.
Yeah,
Brother.
let me know.
Oh, I will do. I really appreciate your time, man.
Well, thank you.
You go have a great day.
Talking to you.
And let me know the next time you're competing. We'll give you a little cheer from down here in the bottom right hand corner of the world.
Yeah, sounds good. So November will be the next one, and then hopefully going back to semis next year.
Fuck yes, lad. Fuck yes.
Cool.
All right. Have a great day. I'll speak to you soon.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, mate. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.